Welcome to South of Left Field. My name is Jimmy, and it's time to recap the game a little bit. Let's sit back down here south of left field. Let's look at what's being played out on the national stage here in the United States of America. So what we have is the red team occupying the far right corner of the field, doing what they always do, putting forward the flag and, thumping Bibles and making good friends with the religious right, making good friends with white nationalists, white supremacists. I mean, they've got armed citizens stalking around in the capitals of cities saying, we don't want to stay home. Well, just a little to the left of the red team there's that blue team. Yes, sir, folks, they are still occupying hard the area just to the left of the red team and don't even have a toe past center field. But they claim to represent everything that the left field should be supporting. And they're making their arguments and, all kinds of ineffectual gestures and promises and the things that they specialize in while waving their banners, which includes a flag and, money for the military and, all the heartwarming things that they support because that's their job. They're the blue team. They're supposed to pretend to be the left. And, look over here and left field. Yeah, left field. Nobody's played on left field in a long, long time. A lot of weeds. And hidden in the weeds are little bitty groups, progressive groups and small little parties. And there might be a green party over there, another party. And it's really kind of sad because, they're the ones who have generally platforms and principles that would support the general American citizen, the 90%. Me, you, folks like us. They do a better job supporting us than anybody over here right of center field. But, this is the game in America, so let's look up in the right field stands and, the owners of the two teams that are playing probably looking pretty grim. So let's stop talking about games and let's talk about what this means. We are at a point where even though the pandemic is still spreading pretty widely through America, we've only got maybe the bare hint of us slowing down its spread. We've already had over 81,000 casualties, which, by the way, equals the worst flu that's ever been seen in the last decade in America. 81,000 was the most it killed. Well, we're still kicking off, new caskets at the tune of about 1,000 citizens a week, or a day. No, it is about 1,000 a day. But yeah, we don't have to worry about that. The owners of the two teams have made it very clear through their players' actions and words on the fields of government that they want us to really stop paying so much attention to our health and our lives and stop paying so much attention to everything else. They're shedding crocodile tears, I'm sure, because over 33 million Americans, and that's just the count we have, uncounted millions besides that, have lost their jobs, lost their incomes. A lot of them lost their medical insurances at the same time that we are confronted with a pandemic. Heaven only knows how many people are going to go bankrupt, besides the people that die. How many families are going to be wrecked? How many homes are going to be lost? Yes. Our great president gave us $1,200. What else do we need? It's going to take more than $1,200. We've got trillions in new debt, and I'm sure that the upper class is really worried about that. Because you got to remember, just like the kids in the playground that I talked about before, that 10% has got $7 to the 3 that the 90% get to hold on to. That one kid's got 7, 9 others are trying to figure out how to get by on 3, and most of them lost their 3. Most of us have lost our 3. I mean, they say that our unemployment's only 14.7%. Folks, it's a lot higher than 14.7%. that number is a wish. And yet somehow in our financial markets, stocks have regained over 2/3 of what they lost when this pandemic first broke, and shows no signs of retreating. Clearly, the economic stimulus provided by the government has really got them feeling flush up there. They keep those stocks right on up there. Things are looking good for somebody. And so here's the game that we have to be worried about. Sooner or later, somebody's going to have to pay. Now, right now, one party is talking about helping out more Americans. The other party is just flat out said no. Not only do we not want to help you citizens, we don't want to help the states that you live in either. As a matter of fact, Mitch McConnell would very happily see our state governments go into bankruptcy. So the federal judges that he appointed with his cronies can gut pay and benefits and pensions in the states, because that's what the bankruptcy judge does. It's a way of taking states that are mostly blue, the ones that are mostly urban, we'll take them under a red judge and we'll teach them what it means to be red. It's quite a game. It's quite a game. And the 90%, well, you know, the ones that are cheering for one team or the other, they make up not even 60, what do they make? About 65% voting population is registered red or blue. The largest portion of the voting population doesn't support either one. It's not willing to see an R or D behind their name on a register somewhere. And yet these leaders playing this game are fighting over how much money should be spent to help the economy. You notice they do a lot of talking about the economy. We're the afterthought. The citizens are the afterthought. We're always, in their minds, the afterthought. If you stop listening to their commercials, if you stop listening to their advertising, if you stop listening to their mantras and their chants, and you start paying attention to what they're actually doing down there on the field, you'll see that what they're fighting over is the welfare of their wealthy owners sitting up in the wee right-hand stands in the skyboxes. What they're fighting over is the welfare of major corporations. What they're fighting over is the welfare of the 1% or the 0.1%. Somebody who walks down and they have the title billionaire behind their names. That's who they're working on. That's what they're worried about. Because sooner or later, the piper's going to have to be paid. The money that they can hopefully, they think, avoid spending to take care of the American citizen is money that may not have to be paid back out of the pockets of the wealthy and the corporations. Ever since old Ronnie Boy came in and sold us this trickle-down business years ago, back in the 80s, the upper class has had it really well. That's why so much money has flowed into their hands. The income went to them, and the wealth that they were able to accumulate went to them. That's why the 10% have 70% of the wealth. And what income we did have here in our end of the society has been gutted by so many jobs being shut down, because now here we are. And you know, we don't live in gated communities. We're not flown around on private jets. We don't have bodyguards and securities and personal concierge doctors on call for us, and high-end medical insurance to take care of us. I mean, they get preferential treatment all the way down the line. So they are protected, they are pampered, they are safer from this virus than the rest of us will ever be. And the argument that's being fought out now is whether we need more than that $1,200 to get by here in the third month of a pandemic. I mean, my goodness, why should we need more? The fear in the eyes of these people up in the skyboxes is that ultimately this money will come out of their net worth. And so our government is loath to spend it. And our blue team, who likes to pretend that they're over in left field, which they clearly are not, our blue team is going to make all the right noises. But in the end, you watch, because every time, it seems, throughout my life that I have watched these two teams play ball, every time it comes down to a big fight where there is a significant benefit for the 90%, the blue team always manages to bobble the ball, even when they have the whole of the government. They can have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and when it comes right down to doing something that helps the general population of Americans, they always manage to bobble the ball. Now, I know there's a lot of people that think Obamacare was a wonderful thing. Well, I'm here to tell you, Obamacare really wasn't that wonderful of a thing. Because what Obamacare was expensive insurance that left people who were forced by law to buy that insurance or pay a penalty, forced to buy the insurance to avoid a penalty, frequently found themselves with a policy that they didn't have the wealth or the income to take advantage of. And so instead of giving them a benefit, it just opened a hole in their already limited wallets to watch the money cycle down into the medical community, where they got to keep the premiums. Oh, hallelujah. And we don't have to pay anything because you poor sods, well, you won't make your deductibles. Or if you do, well, you'll be so broke. And we'll just keep your premiums. Thank you very much. If I sound sour on America, it's because I am. And I'm sour because I'm looking at these two teams playing on the ground. And I know who these two teams are playing for because their owners are in the skyboxes way over there on the right-hand side. And that's not to say that all billionaires are right-wing. What they are is there's red billionaires and there's blue billionaires. But you know what? You're not going to find a progressive billionaire among them. You'll see maybe an oddball, random one sitting out there who may be green or something like that, or at least makes, mouths it, tries to put on a show. That's why I'm not registered with either one of those two parties. That's why I'm sitting out here south of left field. And that's why I keep encouraging people to leave those two parties. Because the only salvation we're going to find when the piper has to be paid for this economic policy, when the piper has to be paid for the pandemic policies, those who aren't paying the undertaker are going to be faced with greater taxation. Because I assure you, neither the red nor the blue team is going to reach into a billionaire's pocket to pay for anything. They're always going to come after us first because we don't have a voice. Because we insist on playing their game. So you watch the arguments about further help for the American population. You watch the arguments about who's going to pay for it because it's already coming up. And we've already got one of the leaders of the Red Party sitting around hoping that the states go bankrupt. We're going to let them go bankrupt because right now the states are the only authority outside of the federal government. If they can break the states, then the federal government has all the authority. And I don't like the look of that game one damn bit. So from south of left field, thank you for listening to my rant. I hope you give some thought to what I've had to say. Please share. Please offer comments, and hang on, folks. Hang on. America still exists because the 90% still breathes. We are America. We just need to wake up and realize the truth of that. So you have a nice day.